Hello and welcome to another scouting report from the Green and White podcast brought to you by Argyle Live. We're joined by EFL podcasting royalty tonight. Jake, first off, what did you think of our now world famous intro? And tell the audience who you are and where we can find you.
Yeah, I enjoyed it actually. I was warned, but I wasn't quite ready for that, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, it was good. I enjoyed it. Yeah, no, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, my name's Jake. I'm part of the Here for the Lincoln podcast, which is a Lincoln City podcast, but you can also find me on other things such as EFL Debate with Gab Sutton weekly. I do the League One Live with Nappers, the Fleetwood fan, everyone knows him as, on Sunday nights as well. So I get around quite a bit, and I was specifically worn green tonight for you guys. So hopefully that gets me a few favours when I come down to Plymouth next year at some point.
At some point, yeah, it's a long trek. It's a long trek for most. It's not everyone makes it every season. Yeah, green seems to be a big thing. Huddersfield got a really nice green away kit this year. There's quite a few. There's a bit of green around the divisions around the EFL this year. So, what's the fan base made of the season so far? We've had a couple of games now. One win, one loss. It's hard to draw many conclusions, but what's the feeling? You've had a bit of a transition this summer. Let us know. Let us know the big ins and outs and what the mood about the place was before the start of the season, and if that's changed now that you've had a couple of games.
I mean, we'll start with the outs because there's been quite a significant amount. Paulie O'Connor, who I believe you guys were linked with in January before you got relegated, he has departed. He went on a free to Reading. Sean Rowan, who's someone we've had in our academy, he left on a free, but it's one of those where he's under 23 and we offered him a contract, so he's gone to Huddersfield. We've had Ethan Arahan, who, again, another player linked with Argyle, I think, when you guys were in the Championship. He's basically forced to move and ended up at Bolton, which means he needs to sack his agent because he could have done way better than Bolton. No offence to Shuey, of course, the GOAT.
All the offence you need, mate. It's fine.
Fantastic. Yeah, I don't like Shuey then. And then most recently, Jovan Makama, which is maybe the most surprising. He became our first ever seven-figure sale. He's joined up with Norwich City on the eve of the season, which is a really good move for him and the football club. So a lot of outs. They were probably our four best players last year, minus Tendai Dariqua. And we came 11th in the league last season. To lose your three best players to clubs in League One, to teams that finished 10th, 8th, and 7th, shows you the disparity, I think, that's going on right now between clubs like Lincoln and the finances at the top end of the league. And that's a whole other conversation that we can have another time, but it is growing more and more mental. Sorry, but the ins that we've had, one name will stand out to you guys, Sonny Bradley, former Argyle centre-half. He came in on a free from Derby. He's looked pretty good in pre-season, to be fair. You guys will know what Sonny Bradley's all about. Meat and potato, centre-half, head it, kick it, get in the way. He played really well last night away at Harrogate. He's been a sort of Paulie O'Connor replacement. And then Riley Towler, who you'll know from your Dockyard Derby days with Portsmouth. He's coming from Pompey for a big fee. Well, a big fee for Lincoln, which is 200 grand, which to Argyle is maybe pocket change. I don't know. He's coming to be the Sean Rowan replacement. We have been linked with a lad, a Ukrainian under-21 international who plays his football in the Czech Super League. But that's not over the line yet. But that could apparently be 700 grand, and that would be the most amount of money Lincoln's ever spent on a player. That might be done before the weekend. It might not be. I'm going to call him Ivan because that's the only part of his name I can pronounce. But
we had a Polish Tim on loan last season. We're very much similar situation.
Well, you guys went completely continental in January, didn't you? And, you know, Maxi, and you had all these. I was watching the Liverpool game, and it was basically like watching a game in a local town called Boston, which has got the most Eastern Europeans in the whole the United Kingdom. It was fantastic. So, in terms of the season, I think
also called the Pilgrims, aren't they? Boston.
They are called the Pilgrims. Yeah, good spot actually. That's a very good spot. When you lose your four best players, I mean, when we lost Ethan, Sean, and Paulie, I was kind of expecting them all to go anyway. when Jovan went, I got wind of that sort of 11 o'clock on the Friday night before the season started. I'm a rational football fan. I just started absolutely panicking, saying, "Well, that's it. Season's over. We're basically done for. We'll be lucky to stay up." Then we beat Reading, and we were going to get promoted. That was a good win against a team who nearly got in the playoffs last year. Obviously, they nicked our captain off us as well. That they're a good side. They played well, so to beat them was good. And then we went to Wimbledon at the weekend, and again we were getting relegated because I mean, admittedly, game state had a massive part to play in that. We were sent down. We were down to 10 men. I think slightly harshly by a 24-year-old referee, which is absolutely bonkers. Sent one of our players off, and then we sort of, with 10 men with 70 minutes, you're probably going to give less of the ball up. You're going to have the team are going to have chances, and Wimbledon were pretty clinical on the day. So, and then last night was a really good performance, a dominating performance against a League Two team, which is what I would expect anyway. So, yeah, the expectation going into the season was probably to just outperform budget again, like it is every year in this league, because we have a bottom 6 or 7 budget every year in this league, and we try and finish top of the price per point table. I know it doesn't mean anything. Don't win any prizes, but our director of football and manager and chairman seem to like it. If we can finish around mid-table, then I think they're happy. But we've been at this level for 6 years now, kind of getting bored. I kind of want to have a go at trying to get up to the champ. We've finished in the playoffs once. We nearly finished in the playoffs a couple of years ago. I think fans are maybe starting to get impatient and maybe want to try and take that next step into the champ.
Yeah, it's natural. It's stagnation. We're feeling much the same about being back. You talk about finances and competing. We've supposedly got a top 6 budget for the league, but it's much, much closer to 7th than 1st. If it is true that we've got a top six budget, I mean, we spent our first £1 million transfer was Bali Mumba and Morgan Whittaker the first season in the Championship, and I think our current transfer record is about 1.6 for Michael Baidu, who was a roaring success and is now on loan in some part of the Middle East. So yeah, we've that's big bucks for us. But this season, I don't think we spent more than a few $100,000 because of the losses in revenue when you come down, and it is annoying. We're back here. We're going to the same old long treks for us to the same old grounds, and it gets a bit tiresome of the old familiar sheds. Sort of like trying to think of one of them.
Burton.
But Burton's a great example. What's the one just north of London? It's got a little shed. Stevenage. Yeah, Stevenage. That's a dreadful place to go. Dull, no atmosphere. So yeah, it is. I can completely understand how it's great for a while, but then especially when you've got success, it's sometimes even a really bad season can be fun, because then you appreciate the good season that within a mid-table mediocrity you get the next season. But no, I think you guys do really well on the budget. I've got you predicted, I think, in my 1 to 24 of, I've predicted you 11th again, and we're in 10th. So I'm not,
it's our spiritual home. That's just where
there's only so much you can do. There's only so much you can punch above your weight. There's only so much you can pay in wages. There's only so much, as you've said, you excuse me, you lose O'Connor to Reading, a team that now with no owners is throwing money around. It's he could have potentially gone to the Championship, I reckon, at least lower end. He could have gone to a Derby or an Oxford or something more than capable at that level. But he knows this division, and I doubt he's getting much less. So it does make a big difference. When we lost Shuey, talking of him again, I was very, very high on Michael Skubala. I was really hoping we'd be able to throw some money at you that, again, you could use, you need, that we might be able to make you an offer you couldn't refuse. That didn't happen. And we went with the wonderful Ian Foster, which was a fantastic move. Ethan Arahan, again, someone I was really high on. I'd hoped we'd come in at some point in the past couple of years for him, and didn't. Again, might just be better money elsewhere. We couldn't give either you or him an offer that turned heads. But like you say, big losses. Skubala, though, from having a rip-roaring start, I think has dropped off a lot of people's radars. Yeah. But still doing, I think, a really handsome job. How are the fans on him now after a couple of seasons now of seeing him and his style?
50-50, I think, because I mean, when he came in, we were pretty rubbish under Mark Kennedy. And he came in and we signed Joe Taylor from Luton, and we just completely took off. Like, I think we picked up 42 points in 20 games. And we went away to Oxford on a Tuesday night before the end of the season, and we won 1-0. And I thought that was it. I thought we were going to get the playoffs. I thought we were going to get in the playoffs momentum. We're going to be the team in form. We're basically going to walk through the playoffs and get promoted. And it didn't happen. We lost on the final day to Portsmouth, and we had a penalty to go 1-0 up, and we missed it. And I think if we'd scored the penalty, we might well have gone on to win and get in the playoffs. But I think he gained a lot of credit on the back of that, and a lot of Lincoln fans were massive fans of that. Last season, I think the fan base was quite split on him. He was sticking with the 3-back formation, which he'd basically been forced to play when he came in. And we all sort of knew when he first came in, he wanted to play a 4 at the back, but he was persisting with his 3 at the back, and it just wasn't working. We were maybe typical Lincoln. We were nabbing points off the better teams. Like when you got promoted, obviously we came and we took 4 points off you. We took 4 points off Ipswich. We took points off Wednesday, Barnsley, all the good teams. And then when the rubbish teams come, we dropped points, and that was the same sort of story. And then we went to a 4 at the back end of last year, and it started to work really nicely again. So it's kind of, everyone's kind of mixed on him at the moment. I think everyone's sort of willing to give him this season to see how he goes, but he's certainly not got when he first came in, that sort of credit yet. He's not quite untouchable, but he's certainly, I think Lincoln fans are predominantly happy with him. I think this year's a real experimental year to see. We're going to have a full year of playing the formation that he wants to play. By the sounds of it, he's going to be backed in this window like he has been already. It's basically down to Michael to perform the goods. And if he doesn't, and we come mid-table again, or we come lower half of the mid-table again, I think Michael could well be heading back down the job centre and looking for another job.
Yeah, because I was going to say you've started this season with the back 4. To my eye, anyway, that's how it looks like it's playing. Which is a big change, but that's it sounds like I didn't realise that was what he was wanting to play from the off. So has obviously you can't judge much from a game where you've had a player sent off early doors, but I presume you played that in the cup last night.
Yeah, we did, and the thing about Lincoln at the minute is we're in a bit of an injury crisis, so it's a good time to play it, because we've only brought 2 players in. We've lost quite a few. And we've got quite a few out injured. Like, for example, Jack Moylan, who scored the first goal last night, he went off injured. They got cropped in the penalty area, and the ref didn't even give a foul or a yellow card, and he got absolutely swiped out. So he's probably going to be out this weekend. We've got Eric Ring, who felt his quad. He's probably going to be out for the weekend as well. Rico Hackett wasn't in the squad last night with a back injury. Ben House took a blow to the face when we beat West Brom in pre-season as well. So it sort of feels like we're falling apart a little bit because we don't have a lot of depth. I mean, I think it shows we had quite a lot of youth academy products in the squad last night. For example, Zane Okoro came on, really highly talented sort of attacker and behind the front man. He played. Bola Okiwoi and Noah Simmons both made their professional debuts last night. That's basically the dire straits that we're in. So it's a bit of a nightmare. But the 4 at the back is what we're playing. But whether he's sort of forced because of injuries over the next sort of week or so until we get bodies in, he might be forced to play another system. I hope not, because we are better at the 4 at the back. But we'll see. But like I say, we are in a little bit of a mini injury crisis at the moment.
Yeah, sorry for you, but we need we need a point at least from somewhere. So yeah, that's good to know. Do you think we'll see any of the youth products on Saturday? Or if not anyone else, fans should be keeping an eye on those who don't necessarily pay attention to the rest of the league.
I imagine they'll all, if they're not on the pitch, they'll be on the bench definitely. Bowler and Zane definitely will be on the bench. Zane's one to look out for. He's very high profile. He was linked with Bournemouth, Forest, and Leicester this summer, but decided to sign a pro contract at Lincoln. God knows why, because he could have been on some much better money elsewhere, but he's sort of shown his faith and signed pro here. In terms of players to look out for, James Collins is a perennial bagsman at this level. I think he came in and scored 10 in 20 last season. He was like he had a similar sort of impact as what Joe Taylor did, a couple of years previous. So he's certainly one to look out for. If Rico's fit for the weekend, he's a bit like a hot weather player. He likes coming out when the sun's out. So he's very good in August. He's very good in August, and he scored against Reading in that 2-0 win as well. So he's one to look out for. And one that maybe won't get mentioned as much, but I think he's a really good player, is Ethan Hamilton. He doesn't get anywhere near the plaudits I think he should do, but he's ex-United youth, come through there. He's had a couple of moves in League One. He's played for Peterborough, played for Bolton, etc. And I think he's a really talented midfielder in terms of just driving the ball up the pitch. And he's got an absolute thunderous left foot, and he can absolutely rocket them in from 20, 30, 40 yards. So I imagine he's probably going to play on Saturday. So I'd say to keep an eye out on Hamo, because he can hit them pretty hard.
Everyone's shouting to get a body in front whenever he picks it
up. Well,
now.
I've seen your goalkeeper this season, and if Ethan Hamilton gets it on target, I think it might go through his puff pastry hands.
That is a beautiful segue, because I was just about to say you've probably seen our form, and if not the highlights of our games thus far. What do you anticipate on Saturday? Don't give me a prediction, but what sort of game? Easy game, middling game, interesting game? We're both in the middle of injury crisis. We've got no depth either. So I'll be interested to hear your thoughts.
I think it's going to be a hard game. Like, regardless of the start that you've had, you've got some very good players in your team, like very, very good players, and you've got probably one of the best head coaches in the league in Tom Cleverley, because I know maybe Plymouth fans are taking a while to warm to him, but I think once he gets going and once he's backed, because by the looks, as an outsider, he's not been backed properly. I hope for your sake he is backed so that he can show you guys exactly how good of a head coach he is. But I expect this to be a hard game. You guys are recently relegated from the Championship. You've always, whilst we've been in the league, I think you've always been at the top end of it. I remember that 101 team that got promoted ahead of that Super Ipswich team. And yeah, I'm expecting a hard game. You guys are, like I say, got good players. You'll bring a good crowd. You guys always bring a fairly noisy bunch up the long stretch of the M5 with you. And trust me, it'll feel like you're on there for hours, because we did it last season going to Exeter. It's a nightmare. I think it's going to be a hard game. I personally know that Nappers, the Fleetwood fan, he's told Brendan Wiredu to have a much better game. Not that he could have started off any worse, bless him. But I think he's got a bit of a vendetta to score and try and celebrate in my face if he does do. So maybe that might perk him up a little bit. But I expect it to be a hard game. Plymouth for a team that I think it's certainly in my top 7. Whether I think I put you 7th in the end. So a team like
I started 7th, and then it moved to 10th on the eve of the season. Yeah, I just couldn't. Yeah, sorry, carry on, man.
I think it's going to be a hard game, but we are at home, and we do have good players in the team that can impact it. So our home form under Michael has tended to be better than our away form. So I'd still like us to win the game, based on the fact that you've not started particularly well. But you did have a good comeback from behind last night. So I'm expecting a hard game. I don't buy Plymouth Argyle are not a very good footballing team, because I think they will be. And maybe it's a good time to play you, but I still think it's going to be a really tough test, and we're going to have to be 100% to get anything from the game.
So prediction then on that note, what's the
score? 5-0 Lincoln, to be honest. No, I'm joking. I'm only messing with you. I went for 1-1. I think 1-1. I think we've typically drawn at our place. I think we've had a couple of decent draws at our place as well over recent years, and we always tend to come to Home Park and win. So same again, please. A draw at Cindybank and 3 points at Home Park will do me just fine.
Yeah, well, as long as we beat Exeter twice this season, I'm quite happy to give anyone the points they want down at Home Park. Now, it's funny. I predicted us to lose both our home games and come to you and draw 2-2. So it's very similar kind of. We're leaking so much, but we're finally starting to look like we can score. So I think we've got like a predictions league we do, all the lads on the pod. and we sort of at the start of the month set them out, and that was my prediction. And I think sometimes when you've played a couple of games, you change your mind drastically, don't you?
Oh
But
yes.
yeah, I think 1-2-2 sounds about. I'd snap your hand off for it. I think if both teams play to their strengths, that'll probably be about what it is. But someone has a good day or someone has an off day, and could just swing it. Jake, really lovely to meet you finally, and a big fan, and we really appreciate you coming on.
No
Cheers.
problem. Thank you very much.